Sometimes dead is better.
All right, we have another scary film, another horror film, and I am a scary cat. But how did I like this one? Let's find out. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Pet Sematary. I really do appreciate it. So this Pet Sematary is a remake of the original film that came out in 1989 that's also based on the novel by Mr. Stephen King, and he also was part of the writing team of the film as well. I have not read the original novel and I have not seen the original film. I actually want to go into this fresh. That's just the way that I like to do it, and I think it paid off for the most part for me doing it that way. Now this film is being directed by Mr. Kevin Klosh and Dennis Whitmire. I am not too familiar with their work. They're a team. They started directing about 10 years ago, and when I looked up some things on their filmography, I was not familiar with any of their work. But we have a pretty popular cast right now. We have John Lithgow and also Jason Clarke. You've seen them throughout a number of films throughout the past years, throughout the past decades, especially Mr. Lithgow. And for the most part, you know, the directors that I'm not too familiar with and the main cast, you know, they did a pretty good job in this film, and, you know, I enjoyed their performances. There's not really any performance in this whole movie that I did not like, and they all stood out in their own unique designed way, especially one character who I will get to in just a moment. But if you're not familiar with Pet Sematary, you may be. It's a remake. It has some novel. You've probably seen the trailers, but some of you guys may not know. I'm gonna still possibly try to avoid spoilers just because you can, you know, go in fresh. Everybody does not know anything. But what this film is about is you have this family of 4, and they move off to the wilderness, to the countryside, just to another remote location, just for a better life because things were not working out where they were. But they acquire some land that has a cemetery, a pet cemetery in the back, and it has powers to bring things back to life that were, you know, once dead. So of course there's death in this movie, and you have to deal with that. Pets coming back to lives, and maybe if some human beings, you know, who knows. I'm not going to give away all the good stuff. So that's just the gist of it right there, and that is what makes the movie, and it makes a pretty good movie too, because just that premise alone is creepy as hell. You know, death and graveyards are coming back from the dead, but pets too. I mean, how many times have you talked trash to your pet before they come back dooking in your mouth while you sleep? Is not a pretty picture or whatever. But seriously though, the cat in this movie was very creepy. I don't have a pet right now, but after watching this movie, I cannot see myself having a pet for a long time for more than one reason. One is because you get so attached to the pet, to the cat, to the dog, or whatever, and then if something doesn't work out, you're devastated. But imagine how horrible you would feel if they came back from the dead and haunted you. That would be even worse. And that's what this film right here has to do with, and just another reason why it's pretty much good. Another thing is you really get to know the characters in this movie. And when I said this is a family of 4, you really do get to know the family of 4, what makes them tick, what makes them talk, you know, what do they dream about, what do they aspire to do, what they are afraid about, what challenges them today, and what trauma they went through, you know, many years ago as they was coming up. And earlier I talked about a character that stood out from majority of the rest, and that is Miss Amy Seimetz. If I pronounced that name correctly. She had the best performance in this film. I was very convinced with her role. She was dealing with a lot of childhood trauma, and just kind of seeing her act on screen, you know, I was convinced it was believable, and I felt sorry for her and, you know, everything that she had to go through with. Now, it doesn't necessarily tie into the story as well as it could have. I mean, she kind of has her own separate subplot going on over here that doesn't tie into the main plot of the film as well, but it does stand out and give her character more depth than everybody else. Now, this film, I will be honest with you, it is not scary to me, but it is creepy. There was a few times where I wanted to turn my head because I did not want to see what was going on screen. I'm not even saying that there's a lot of blood and gore. No, No, it's not. I will give you that tidbit. But the editing in this film from everybody involved, they did a great job of, making you feel something that was there. And like this movie is trying to do, it can be pretty terrifying. When I also said that it's not scary, it's creepy, there are a number of jump scares in this film. And usually people are sick of those, but the jump scares in this film work because they were natural elements acting as if they normally would in any given situation. Sometimes things are just scary if a cup falls and hits the floor or whatever. You may think that's a ghost, but at the same time, things happen. And the film really did use that. Instead of demons and ghouls and pets coming from the dead, instead of using that to scare you, it just kind of used a bunch of natural elements. I also love the cinematography of this film. It really did stand out. I really felt like when we were exploring the land in the woods in the pet cemetery, like I was there. This did not feel like a set. This did not feel like a sound stage. So it's just really something that stood out. That pet cemetery was creepy as hell. And, I never want to go to a graveyard or have pets. That's just kind of like what I'm feeling in this movie. Or excuse me, while I was watching this movie. Now, I'm not a parent. I hope to have kids someday. I was looking for some wood to knock on. But I want to hear from the parents, and if you are a parent and you've seen this movie, how you deal with death, or is it right or is it wrong to bury a pet or bury whatever and hope to bring it back to life for whatever reason, because you want your son or daughter to be happy. I mean, these are some of just the themes that this film had to do with. And I mean, another thing that I really did like about this film is it's really just a big build up all the way until the end, and it just keeps building and building and building, and you're kind of just wanting more and more and more. And you're getting more and more and more. Now, there was a point in time to where I did get a little restless for a few moments, maybe 30 seconds. So it's like, okay, let's rev this up. Things are just going a little bit too slow for me. But for the most part, it had a steady, consistent pace that I did appreciate, that did pull me in to make me feel like I was there. I was creeped out, especially with the score of this film. There were a lot of weird sound effects that they used to just really punch this point home that you are not in Kansas anymore. You're at this demonic pet cemetery where things come back to life, and it's just something that I don't necessarily want to be a part about. That I don't want to be a part of. And the last thing about this film is it tricked me in a good way. There were a number of things that happened in this film that I did not see coming. I thought I figured it out. I thought it was going to happen this way, but it ended up happening that way. And I did enjoy it for the most part. Then again, it's not scary. It is creepy. And the ending is not necessarily a happy ending, or for me at least. It could have ended a number of ways, and it's a unique way to end the film, but not something that I will put at the top of the mountain. If I had to rate Pet Sematary out of a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Yes, a 7.5 out of 10. But guys, that is just my opinion. What did you think about Pet Sematary? Or do you want to see it? Have I turned you on? Have I turned you off? Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going and keep it flowing. If you like this video, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. If you don't, that's fine, but you can still subscribe to my channel. You can also look me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all that good stuff. It's right there at the bottom of your screen, and I made it very easy by providing a link to all that down in the description box below. But guys, I just want to thank you again for tuning into my opinion/review for Pet Sematary. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.